They're making another run this year. Going to have to go through Cardinal Ritter once again. And Cape Central making another run. They made it out to the championship game last year against Webb City. Went up against their own perennial power in Webb City. I think they're going on about 7 titles for this year in a row. So Cape Central will have his hands full going forward as well. But both teams doing well. Hopefully they'll continue that success going forward to next week. And as basically we're wrapping up, high school football, volleyball ended last week. Bernie Lady Mules come away with 3rd place in Class 2. And Class 2 volleyball last week, and Cape Girardeau at the Show Me Center, and took away 3rd place in the state in Class 2 volleyball. So a great finish from the Bernie Lady Mules. They are the only team from Southeast Missouri represented in the state championships last weekend, and they represented well, coming away with 3rd place in Class 2. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with Michael Harrell. He's the head football coach of the Piggott Mohawks. We're going to talk about the Piggott victory last night, and forgot to mention the Piggott victory. Piggott defeated Corning last night in the American Cancer Society Rice Bowl, that Clay County clash, and Piggott defeated Corning to win their 3rd straight Rice Bowl last night. And we're going to talk to Michael Harrell about that victory and the Piggott Mohawks season coming up in our next segment. So stick around.
It's back again at Harry Blackwell Ford in Malden. We are selling all new Ford cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs in inventory back of dealer pricing. For example, 2015 F-250 Crew Cab Diesel. Window sticker, $63,000. Back of dealer pricing, $52,900. You won't beat these prices anywhere. Shop Harry Blackwell Ford in Malden. You'll be glad you did.
This is the next big thing.
NFL Red Zone, the channel that brings you every touchdown from every game on Sunday afternoons. Watch the most exciting moments like never before, live in HD. Every touchdown from every game, live on one channel, NFL Red Zone.
Introducing New Wave Wi-Fi at home. Now you can stay connected to the web and not the wall. One connection connects multiple computers, so you can surf the internet from any room in your home with no wires, no worries, and no limits to what you can do. Everything is included. One simple call is all it takes. Connect everyone, everywhere with New Wave Wi-Fi at home.
Wireless modem service now included with every bundle package. Call 1-888-8-NEW-WAVE to
And we're back, and we're going to have a nice talk with Michael Harrell. He's the head coach of the Piggott Mohawks, and the Piggott Mohawks coming off a victory last night over the Corning Bobcats in a decisive victory, and that was 42-13, Michael, before we get started? Was that a 42-13 victory last night?
49-12.
49-12. Okay, we get quite a few scores this morning. 49-12 victory for the Piggott Mohawks last night in Corning for that American Cancer Society Rice Bowl. And Michael, you got to be excited about that victory last night. It's always a big deal in that Rice Bowl between you and Corning and the Clay County there, and getting the victory, going to 6-4 on the year. So you gotta put together a competitive year. Just missing out on the playoffs is certainly what you were looking for in the season, but finishing out the year with a strong victory last night.
Yeah, that's proud of the boys. They played hard at Corning. That Corning game's always a big deal. It's about pride. You know, either team, you can throw out their records. It don't matter what the record is. It doesn't matter. But you know, when it comes that Corning week, it's Piggott versus Corning, and it's all about pride in your community and pride in your program and your family and stuff. And you know, it's kind of gotten a little bit more publicity the last few years because of that Rice Bowl trophy, but really that Rice Bowl trophy don't mean nothing. all we want to do is beat Corning, and that's what the boys done. We beat them 7 out of the last 8 years, and I'm proud of them.
Sure, and you've dominated that matchup over the last few years there with Corning, and you put together yourself a nice year this year, 6-4. You've played in a very competitive conference. I know the past few years have been pretty difficult as the competition's been very good there in the 3A3, and you got yourself a winning record at 6-4 this year. So certainly a good year for these boys to build off on going forward with some confidence.
Yeah, 6-4. We're probably in years past, we probably should be pretty happy with it. We're not. We're all kind of sick about it. We started off 4-0 and was rolling pretty good, and we was in every ball game this year. We lost an overtime game to Cedar Ridge that probably should have never made it to overtime, and then we lost to Manila in the last minute of the game. We won a couple of close ones, in that little 4-0 start. We beat Forgesville at the very end of the game, and we beat Osceola at the very end of the game. Well, we kind of lost to Manila in the same way that we won a couple of them, so that one hurt. And, the program is heading in the right direction. We won twice as many games this year as we did last year. But we got high expectations, and I'm it's a good thing that we're not happy with 6-4. We're still hungry. They're ready to get back in the weight room right now and start getting ready for next year. But we did all right. We were competitive. We 6-4. I'm not happy with it. We're not happy with it, but it's better than the alternative. There's some other schools in this county that'd like to be 6-4 right now, I promise you. So we're going to keep working, get better, and we're going to get in them playoffs next year. We're going to do it.
Yep, and you're in 6th place. You finished the year 6th place, and there was 5 teams that will be going to the playoffs in your conference, and just missed out on that fifth place there with Manila. You played Manila a few weeks back and had a heartbreaking loss going into overtime. So you were just a few plays away from making it to the playoffs this year. So it was just right there.
We're 9 points. We are 9 points away from being 8-2.
Yeah.
We're close. Close. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's close. And it was fun with the Mohawks this year. We saw a lot of big plays from quite a few players, and it's going to be fun to watch these kids come back. And, the town was certainly behind this team this year. Every game you saw with the Mohawks playing, the stands were filled. So that's great for the program and the community behind them, and looking forward to another great year.
Man, we've got awesome support. The community's been on fire all year long, and we're going to lose some good seniors. We've got some really good. Our sophomore class is amazing. Got some good juniors, and then we got a super good group of freshmen coming up. They just finished 7-2 conference runner-up. So, the future's bright. But Logan Dixon, losing him is going to be a big deal. I was sitting here looking at stuff this morning, and Logan finished the year with 1,500 yards rushing. He scored 118 points for us, and we scored 259 points total. So of our 259 total points, Logan scored 118 of them. So, replacing him is going to be a big deal. We're losing 3 defensive backs that accounted for 12 interceptions, and so we're losing some good seniors, but we've got some underclassmen I feel like can work hard this offseason, get hard, get strong in the weight room, and build on it. Just keep building and keep going in the right direction.
Sure, and it was a pleasure to be down there with the Mohawks this year as we showed your home games, and looking forward to another fine season next year. And like you said, some of those seniors are going to be going to miss them on the football field. Dixon had, like you said, had a big season, and he broke open a lot of plays this year, which was exciting. But certainly you got that that junior high bunch you say moving up, having a 7-2 season. Going to be sophomores next year, being able to contribute at the senior high level. So a lot to look forward to with Pig and Mohawk football going forward.
That's right. The future's bright for sure.
All right. Well, Michael, we appreciate you coming on this year and talking about your boys, and we'll be certainly looking forward to another fine season next year, and good luck with the program going forward.
All right. Thank you, Tyler.
Okay. See ya.
All right, bye-bye.
And that's Michael Harrell, head football coach of the Piggott Mohawks. And I appreciate him spending some time with us this year, talking about the boys and the program. and certainly a fine season. 6-4. Yeah, here in Southeast Missouri, I know many may not be familiar with Piggott and their conference there in the 3A3. I'll tell you, some of the best football in Arkansas is played in that conference. You talk about Hoxie, Rivercrest, and Earl was in that conference. They actually moved down to 2A and just dominating that 2A. Now they're in Northeast Arkansas, and very competitive. Hoxie, I remember at one time it was Hoxie, Earl, Harrisburg, and there's probably another Rivercrest. Those 4 teams would just beat up on each other, and a lot of years it was one of those teams advancing on to pretty much the semifinals, state finals each year. So very competitive conference. Piggott going 6-4 in that conference this year. Quite an achievement. Best of luck to the Mohawks going forward with that program. And we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk more about Missouri high school football, and the state playoffs get underway. Well, pretty much they're already underway, but the state tournament gets underway next week with the quarterfinal round. We're going to talk about the matchups and the brackets for each one of those classifications coming up next.
What is your emergency? Need assistance at County Road 61 and Highway 9. Help is on its way.
Clear! There's a better way to jumpstart your soil back to health. Apply Endzone to protect and increase nitrogen efficiency without killing bacteria. Apply Prevent to increase phosphorus availability and reduce fixation. Better yet, use them both to get more from your fertilizer investment and see higher potential yields. Ag Explorer, your prescription for healthy soil.
The competitive edge. It's the edge that sets you apart from your competition. Every business needs it. Now, every business can get it. Partner with Advanced Business Solutions and give your business the competitive edge. Advanced Business Solutions, delivered by New Wave, offers scalable fiber optic-based internet solutions to fit your needs. Now you can download without the wait on a network designed for you. Call Advanced Business Solutions and get the competitive edge for as low as $39.99 per month.
And welcome back, and now let's take a look at the football state tournaments taking place starting next week throughout the state of Missouri. And let's start down in Class 1. The Class 1 state tournament, as we have here, 8 teams remaining. Here's the quarterfinal round. Valley Catholic will take on Thayer, and those are 2 tough Class 1 programs, which Valley's pretty much rolled through for the last number of years. But Thayer, a respectable program, and expect at least a more competitive game with Valley Catholic this coming Friday. So it should be a good one there between Valley and Thayer. Also in the other quarterfinals, South Shelby taking on Marceline, Midway taking on Skyline, and West Platte taking on Hamilton Penny. And those are the Class 1 quarterfinals getting underway next week. So again, Valley Catholic, number 1 in the state, and I don't think they've come off that number 1 ranking probably in the last 3 or 4 years. And looking forward to another state title run this season. And in Class 2, the Mullen Green Wave will take on Cardinal Ritter this coming Friday or Saturday. We'll see how they schedule that. That game's going to be up in downtown St. Louis as it was last year. So Mullen will make the trip up once again this year. And Cardinal Ritter, more improved team this year. Mullen dominated that game last year. I believe that was 40-some-odd something to 6. Cardinal Ritter got a late touchdown against the reserves of Malden last year in that game. And Cardinal Ritter got an impressive season so far this year. They defeated Jefferson pretty soundly last night. I believe that was a 50-something to 20 score, 52 to 20, something like that. It was a decisive victory for the Cardinal Ritter Lions. And just a few weeks back, they defeated Sykeston 38 to 25. So last year they lost to Sykeston 20-0, won 38 to 25 just a few weeks ago. So quite a bit of a turnaround for the Cardinal Ritter Lions this year. I knew going back to last year they had a pretty young team from what I could remember, and had quite a bit coming back this year, and they've come back in a big way and put together a fine season. So I would expect a much more competitive game this year between the Green Wave and the Lions, and should be a thriller for that Class 2 quarterfinal up in downtown St. Louis this next week. And as I mentioned in the opening. We're going to make an effort to bring that live to you from Cardinal Ritter High School there in downtown St. Louis for all the folks to watch here back home that can't make the drive, make the trip. So expect to we're going to make an effort. It shouldn't be all that difficult for us to pull it off. Excuse me. Since we made the trip last year, and should be pretty good to go for that match up there in St. Louis this next week. So we're certainly going to make the effort to bring that to you right here on Channel 21 and SemoSportsZone.com. And the other matchups, Lutheran North taking on Palmyra, and Mountain View Liberty and Lamar. Big matchup there in the quarterfinals down the way. They always match up each year. Mountain View Liberty, very good team, strong program year in and year out, and they just got the unfortunate timing, or placement rather, geographical placement to play Lamar in that quarterfinal round each year. And Lamar's working on, I believe it's either fourth, I think they're working on their fourth straight state title, and it was kind of expected Lamar to have a rebuilding year this year. They had a big senior class last year. A lot of them went on to play college ball, and having a bit of a underclassmen team this year. So, this was quote-unquote rebuilding year for Lamar, and they've dominated their schedule, beat Carl Junction earlier in the year, Class 5 Carl Junction, and just rolling through their schedule in a rebuilding year, and that's kind of what you get from Lamar. And they will be the favorite against Mountain View Liberty, but Mountain View Liberty, very good once again. They just got on the wrong side of the bracket here to take on Lamar in such an early round. But you could, if you basically match up these teams in the state tournaments each year, you could probably have Mountain View Liberty and Lamar be in the state championship with such a good program that Mountain View Liberty has. And as you see there, Mullen Lamar is going to be on the opposite sides of the bracket here in the quarterfinals. So Mullen and Lamar faced off in the semifinals last year. So if Mullen and Lamar is going to face off again this year, it's going to be in the championship game at the Show Me Bowl in St. Louis, in the Dome. So that's one thing the Green Wave have working for them. If they win this game, they won't have to play Lamar. So I'm sure they'll get a tough one there with either Lutheran North or Palmyra if they can win against Cardinal Ritter. But won't see Lamar until the Dome if they're fortunate to make it that far. So in that other quarterfinal, Lafayette taking on Brookfield, and the winner will take on the winner of Mountain View Liberty and Lamar. So very competitive Class 2s it's been over the years, and Malden's going to be right there in the mix once again, but Cardinal Ritter's right there in their way up in St. Louis. So we'll see how that plays out next week. Should be a good one there in the Class 2 quarterfinals between Malden and Cardinal Ritter. And in Class 3, Park Hill Central advanced. They'll take on the winner of John Burroughs and McClure South. That game's taking place this Saturday afternoon. So we'll see how that plays out. John Burroughs, strong program. They've been there in the mix the last few years. Should make a good run against McClure South this afternoon. Centralia taking on Blair Oaks, Mountain Grove taking on Aurora, and Odessa taking on Maryville. That's your Class 3 state tournament. In Class 4, it is Cape Central taking on Afton, Webb City taking on Harrisonville, St. Dominic takes on University City this Saturday afternoon, and the winner will advance on to take on the winner of Westminster Academy and St. Francis Borgia, also taking place this Saturday afternoon. And the other quarterfinal, Hannibal taking on Kearney. So those are your quarterfinal matchups for Class 4. And Cape Central, if they're fortunate to advance over Afton, they will take on, presumably, Webb City, who's, I think, working on their 7th straight state title. It's 6 or 7. You lose count, as soon as it gets over a handful with Webb City. And they faced off in the championship game last year. And if they both advance, they'll match up in the semifinals this year. So that'll certainly be a tough matchup for Cape Central, but they'll have their hands full with Afton. He's got a good team as well. I think Afton defeated Jackson earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken on that. So Cape Central will have a tough one this next week in the quarterfinals. And those are your state tournaments for this year. And in the quarterfinal round, the round of 8, only 3 more weeks remaining for the football season as it ends on Thanksgiving weekend. So we'll see how it all plays out. It's going to be very exciting. You got Cape Central Malden there in the mix here from Southeast Missouri. And before we go, I want to mention that winter sports practice is underway for wrestling and girls and boys high school basketball as they got started this past week with the winter sports, and we're about a month away from the winter sports season getting underway. I know some of the smaller schools will get started probably pretty much that week before Thanksgiving. Some of your smaller schools in the area will have some games, but mainly getting underway that week after Thanksgiving. And of course, we're going to bring you a full schedule of high school basketball once again this year, and it's going to be an exciting time once again right here on YHC and online at SEMOsportzone.com. And we're going to take one more break and be back with the college and pro football games to look forward to this weekend.
Deposit your check here or here. Or even there. Deposit your check wherever you are with First Midwest Bank's new mobile deposit. Just tap, snap, deposit. It's that simple. New mobile deposit from First Midwest Bank, serving the communities we call home.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
And welcome back, and before we go, let's take a look at some college and pro football games taking place this weekend, and starting with the college ranks. Let's start with Notre Dame, 5th-ranked Notre Dame at Pittsburgh. And Notre Dame's on the road. I think Pittsburgh got a pretty good season going on, about 6-2, something like that, so might be a tough one for the Irish for this afternoon. Penn State's at 21st-ranked Northwestern in the Big Ten. Arkansas is at 18th-ranked Ole Miss in the SEC. 16th-ranked Florida State at top-ranked Clemson in the ACC. 8th-ranked TCU at 14th-ranked Oklahoma State in the Big 12. 9th-ranked Iowa at Indiana. Iowa putting together a nice season. They're in the top 10. 2nd-ranked LSU at 4th-ranked Alabama. Big SEC matchup taking place today. 2 top 5 teams. Should be a good one later on today. Navy at 13th-ranked Memphis, and Memphis putting together a fine season. And Navy's actually only got 1 loss on the year, so it could be a good one there at Memphis later on today. Auburn at 19th-ranked Texas A&M in the SEC, and our local teams, SEMOs at Austin Peay in the OVC, Ohio Valley Conference. Austin Peay winless on the year, so SEMOs should be the favorite in that matchup on the road. And Arkansas State defeated Appalachian State earlier in the week. I believe that was a Thursday night game, 40-27. So nice victory for the ASU Red Wolves. Those are your college football games to look forward to this weekend. Taking a look at the NFL games taking place Sunday. The Packers at the Panthers. That's a big NFC matchup there. The Packers coming off a decisive loss to the Broncos. They were undefeated. Now they took 1 loss. The Panthers undefeated still, though, at 7-0. And home field advantage in the NFC playoffs could be on the line in that matchup Sunday with the Packers and the Panthers. The Redskins at the unbeaten Patriots. The Rams at the Vikings. The Raiders at the Steelers. The Giants at the Buccaneers. The Falcons at the 49ers in the NFC. The Broncos at the Colts in the AFC, and Peyton Manning, going back to his old home there in Indianapolis, has a chance to break Brett Favre's records of passing yards for a career and also wins as a quarterback, all in one game. I believe he needs 284 yards passing to pass Brett Favre for career passing yards, and of course the victory to be the winningest quarterback in NFL history. So big day there in Indianapolis coming up Sunday. The Jaguars at the Jets in the AFC. And then Sunday Night Football on NBC, you got the Eagles at the Cowboys in the NFC East. The Cowboys certainly having a rough way now with Tony Romo being out. Des Bryant's back in the mix. Tony Romo's still going to be out for another few weeks. Matt Castle at the helm, and it's a big NFC East matchup there. The Cowboys need the victory in a big way to stay competitive there in the division. And then your Monday Night Football matchup, the Bears at the Chargers. And those are your college and pro football games taking place this weekend. So, only about halfway through the season for the pro ranks. So, and the college starting to get into their probably last quarter of the year. And that college football playoff, 4 teams were released this last week, and it's going to be pretty contentious. Some of the teams on the outside looking in. Baylor's on the outside once again. I believe the rankings go Clemson, LSU, Ohio State, and that fourth one's going to get away from me, but it's the first one, so it's definitely going to change over the next few weeks if they update that each week. But Clemson at that top ranks, pretty surprising to see them do so well up there at the top. So, you don't see them there very often. Florida State was pretty much ranked first throughout the year last year until they ran against Oregon there in the semifinals. So, we'll see how it plays out for the remainder of this year. So we'll see how it plays out. I think it's TCU there in the mix as well. TCU is right up there. So we'll see how it plays out. And that's pretty much the show for today. We appreciate you for tuning in as always. Look forward to seeing you right back here with us next Saturday for another roundtable. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a great week.